YouTube. Today I am working on a 2012 Dodge Avenger, and the customer came in with a complaint of a ticking sound in the dash, and chances are it's going to be a blend door actuator. Now I've actually already looked to see which one it is, and it turns out in this case it's the recirc door. I'm going to teach you real quick how to isolate which blend door is failing, how to repair it, and we'll go.
What you're going to want to do is two of the blend doors are actually located right here behind the glove box. So take all your stuff out of here, and there's two tabs at the top of each side. Push them down and it reveals two of them, which I'll show you here in a sec. Okay, so now that we have the glove box out, we can see much of the HVAC right here. And this is actually where your blower motor is going to be. And this is one blend door actuator. And right here, where this wire is going in, is another blend door actuator. So, real quick, what you want to do is you want to turn the ignition on, and usually that's when it will start clicking. That's when those actuators are going to find their top and bottom end of their articulation. And it does that frequently. Now, if you're having problems getting them to do it and only does it every once in a while, before you do this, what you might want to do is actually take and disconnect your battery. Disconnect it for, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, something like that, 30 seconds. And plug it back in, and then haul butt back over here. And when it's ticking, what you're going to want to do is put your hand on either one of these actuators, and you'll feel the vibration of it ticking, because what's happening is it's actually skipping on the gears that are inside there. And so you'll be able to feel it easily. So let's go ahead and do that now. Oops, thumb in the way. And I put my hand on it, and I can actually feel it. And in fact, the sound changes when I push on it a little bit. So there's definitely something going on in there. So we will replace that, we'll pull it out, see what's going on with it, and go from there. So obviously you want to unplug the actuator. It's in there. I know my hand's in the way, but I'll pull it out so you can see it. Standard plug, push down on this, pull it out, and then grab those stubby Phillips screwdriver. Take out the screws. I can't find it with the phone. I have a problem finding it with the phone, but they're in there. Oh, there's one right there. Yeah, and then there's one on the other side. Take them out, and this thing pulls right out, super easy. But I don't think I could do it holding the camera and a screwdriver at the same time. So you're just going to have to picture it in your mind. So every car is different. You know, today we're working on this Avenger, and the actuator has two screws, and you only need one tool to do this whole job. Well, I guess two tools. You know, tool number one and tool number two. Just a stubby Phillips head. Because it's so close to the kick panel on the right hand side, a normal size screwdriver probably isn't going to work for you. You're going to want to use one of these. And through the magic of editing, I was able to get these two screws out, and now I can pull out the actuator. Just pull it straight out to the right. Blend door actuator coming up. So before you replace this blend door actuator and spend, I don't know, 50, 60 bucks, however much they are, there's a couple things you want to check. You want to check the female side of the key. So the blend door itself actually attaches to where this arrow is pointing. And you want to see if there's any scoring, if there's any marks, if it's wore out, if it's all chewed up. Because if it is, then there's a chance that you're going to have to replace the actual blend door inside of the HVAC unit, which is a lot more time consuming. So just give it a good check, see if there's any wear. We'll go inside and we'll look at the male side of the key as well. So you'll be able to see it without having any special tools or mirrors. And you can also reach in there and feel it as well. But that's the key right there. And I don't see any chewing, any sort of marks that would say that that's bad. Also, put your hand in there, grab it, rotate it back and forth and see if it moves freely, and make sure that it isn't the door itself that took out your actuator.
So you get your new part, and it's really important that you install it first before you plug it in, because when you plug it in, there's a good chance that it's going to sit there and going to try to find the top and the bottom of its articulation before it's plugged into the HVAC box, which is something that you don't want to do. The only exception to this is if you already have your battery disconnected. I mean, as a general rule, it's a good idea to disconnect the battery in your car before you work on it anyways. And so if you've already done that, then you can plug it in and nothing's going to happen. But if the battery's connected, do not plug it in until it's completely installed. That way when it goes to try to find its range of articulation, it won't fail, over-articulate, or in general be a pain in the ass to install. So if for some reason that you do, all right, there is a way to mess with it. Now, with this one, it's the recirculation door, and so it's the door that controls the amount of fresh air versus cabin air that is being blown through the blower. So if you do plug it in, or if you get it and it's not right, it's not fitting, what you do is you want to check, and you want to make sure that that arrow right there is basically pointing to the missing tooth. All right, that's going to be your alignment key right there. If for some reason it isn't, and I mean, if you get this part from O'Reilly or AutoZone or any one of the auto parts stores, I mean, sometimes somebody will get the wrong one and they'll ship it back, and you never know what's happened to it. And so you want to make sure that that arrow is pointing toward the missing key, essentially. All right, and if it's not, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad and you need to go get another one. All right, all you need to do is plug it in, make sure your battery's connected, and articulate it through your HVAC control module, basically through your knobs. So with this being a recirc door, what you would need to do is you'd need to switch between fresh air and recycled air and get it to where that key looks just like this. And if it's just like this, you won't have any problem installing it. So now that we have that little piece of instructional video out of the way, we're going to go ahead and install this. Now with this one, general alignment to kind of get you started, you got to remember that this plug right here was actually facing down. And so when you install it inside there, you want to make sure that the plug is generally facing down too. When you get the key aligned with the female part of the HVAC box, at that point, once it's inside that key, you can actually move it around a little bit, and that'll actually move the blend door itself. And then when you get it aligned with the screw holes, then you can put it in and install the screws. So let's go ahead and do that now. And it's there. So now all I need to do is install the screws, plug it in, let it learn its articulation, and we should be good to go. Okay, so once you've got that in there and you've got those two screws tight, give it a wiggle, make sure there's no play in there. I mean, if it's not seated correctly, against that box, then it'll fail prematurely and you'll end up doing the exact same job again. So now that it's in there, let's plug it in and test it. I know that I used my expensive scanner to recalibrate that recirc door after I installed it, and not everybody has one of those. They're expensive, but the reason why I do that is so I don't have to disconnect the battery or pull the fuse, and you can do either one of those. By disconnecting the battery or by pulling the HVAC fuse, you're essentially doing the exact same thing that I did. When the HVAC module, which is where all the knobs are, it controls the temperature and the mode and all that other stuff. It's the actual module that controls the blower, the recirculation doors, the blend doors, and the mode doors. All right. When it loses power, it automatically recalibrates itself anyways. So don't let that big scanner dissuade you from doing this job on your own. See, because I'm going to charge this guy a whole bunch of money for doing this job, but you don't have to pay anybody to do it because it's simple. You don't have to throw any tools in the process. So that's it. Hopefully it was a help. Like and subscribe if it was. And you guys have a nice day.